brake like a pro? Do you want to pocket a ball on every brake that you strike? Do you want to control the cue ball and leave it in the center of the table? Do you want to play perfect position on the one so you can run a rack? Well, in this video, we're going to cover the elements of a good brake. I'm going to go over the mechanics of the brake shot, and I'm going to give you a scoring rubric that you can use to evaluate your brake and make it more powerful and accurate than ever before. So stay tuned. Hello, I'm Master Instructor Anthony Beeler, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Do You Want to Play Like a Pro? This week I'm happy to announce that we continue to edge closer to 10,000 subscribers. If you haven't gone to poolteacher.com and registered for our big giveaway, don't forget to do so. This week we're also going to have a special book giveaway. So you'll want to stay tuned to the very end to find out how you can win a special book autographed by professional player Alan Hopkins. In this video, we're going to look at braking mechanics, and we're going to break down each of those elements individually so you can improve your brake and make more balls than ever before. In addition to that, I'm going to give you a rubric where you can evaluate your brake so you can work on it weekly and be more consistent and have more control. So let's go to the table and see what that looks like. First of all, we're going to look at braking mechanics. And the first thing that I want you to understand is on the brake, you don't want to use a stance that's so square. In fact, you need to be able to push off on your back foot as you go into the shot. So that's the way that the professional players generate their power, is by pushing off on their back foot as they go into the brake shot. Another thing that you need to consider is you don't want to keep your bridge arm straight. You want it bent so when you push off on that back foot and you go through, you've got room to generate your power. The third element is when you brake, you don't have to come under. You can go across on the brake. Now here's why that's important. When you go to brake on the table, you've seen people, if they don't jump up, they whack the forearm of their cue onto the table, and you see dents on their cue. So professional players jump up to keep that from happening. They develop this whole routine where when they go with the one ball, they jump up as they go through so they don't hit their cue on the table. If you hit your cue on the table, you're losing power. You're also damaging your cue, so you really want to avoid that. Another way to keep yourself from hitting the table is to use more of this side movement as you come through. If you're coming through at an angle, then you don't have to jump as high to miss the table. So that's a real important element on the brake. Another element is that you want to choke up with your grip. You'll want your grip to not be exactly at 90 degrees, but you want it to be in some from 90 degrees, maybe 75, 80 degrees, something like that. And when you extend your arm, it will help you generate power as you go through. The next element that I want you to understand is the extension. When these professional players go and they brake, you will see them throw their cue almost all the way down to the one ball. You'll see the tip near the 1 on a very, very powerful brake. And that's how the pros are generating all this power, with that long follow through. Now, on to the 2 most important elements of the brake. You've got to have a good set. You've got to have that good 1, 2, 3 to look at the cue ball in relationship to the object ball. You've got to line up the cue ball with the 1, and you need that good stop up front to do it. Perhaps the most important element of the brake is that slow backswing, keeping everything straight till you get all the way back, and then a powerful follow through when you come through the ball. That slow backswing is what makes the brake so very, very accurate. The next thing I want to talk to you about is how to make the corner ball. And the way to make the corner ball is to have completely a full hit on the 1. If you hit the 1 off to the left, the corner ball does not want to go. In fact, if you err, you would be better off cutting the 1 to your left rather than hitting it off to the left. If you cut the 1 to your left and put more force into the 3 ball here, you've got a better chance of making the corner ball. The next thing we're going to look at is how to evaluate your brake. You'll notice that I've got several markings on the table. I've used hole reinforcement labels that you can purchase at your local grocery store. And what I do is I'll place one line at the brake line and then another line of labels at the spot. And so we've got a line here and a line here. I've also created a line from the first diamond all the way up to the 3rd diamond. And I used a different color reinforcement label for this. Now here's how you score your brake. If you're braking from this side, you're trying to make the corner ball. If the corner ball goes in the pocket, you get a 4 automatically. After you brake and make a ball, if the cue ball is in between this yellow line and this yellow line, you get 3 more points. So if you make a ball on the brake, you get 4 points. If the cue ball is in between the yellow lines, you get 3 more points. If the cue ball is in between the yellow lines and you don't make a ball, you just get 3 points. Whatever category that you fall into is how many points you get. Now the 3rd element is the 1 ball. If you brake and you make the 1 ball in the side, you get 3 additional points. If it doesn't go in the side, if it hits here or it hits here and it goes over and it falls in this orange section here, then you get 3 additional points. The most points that you can score on the brake is 10 points. You can get 4 for the corner ball, 3 for the cue ball, and then 3 more for the 1 ball coming up and falling into this area here. If you scratch on the brake, it's -5. So whatever points you had, you deduct 5 from it. And so that's the way that I score the brake. If you'll practice this, your brake will improve if you use this rubric. Break the balls 10 times. What's your score? You know, the most you could get would be 100 points. Keep working on trying to get as close as you can to that 100 points. It's very difficult to do. A lot of times the 1 ball will be going up next to this area here and you think you'll have it in there and then it will kiss a ball, or the cue ball will stop in the middle of the table and it will be kissed. So the brake is one of the most difficult shots that there is in pool, and you really need to practice it. And not only do you need to practice it, but you need to have a reliable way to score yourself so you know that your brake is getting better. And that's what this rubric will do for you, is it'll give you a tool to evaluate your brake. Now we're going to talk about how to score some racks. In this first break here, you'll see the corner ball goes in, the cue ball stays in the middle of the table, but the 1 does not go into the desired spot, so that's a 7. In the second rack here, again, corner ball goes, but the cue ball is not in the middle of the table, but the 1 goes in. Because the 1 ended up in the corner pocket, that counts as part of that position zone, so that's a 7. Again here, corner ball goes in, cue ball's in the middle of the table, but the 1 is not in the spot, so a 7. This next break here, corner ball goes in, the cue ball's in the middle of the table. The 1 almost goes into the position zone, but again, it's a 7 because it's outside that rectangle. In this next rack here, the corner ball goes in. I lose control of the cue ball, and so this rack is a 4. The next rack, the 1 ball falls into the zone, but the cue ball's not in there, so it's a 7. And in this rack, the corner ball goes in. I lose control of the cue ball, and the 1 gets into the position zone for a 7. You're starting to see the trends here. You know, I would have got a 10 on that one if the 1 hadn't got kissed. In this rack, I end up with a pretty good break, but the score is a 4. This rack here is a perfect 10. I made the 1 in the side and the corner ball, so that's the 10. The cue ball's in the middle. In this rack here, I'm ending up with a 7 because the cue ball's not in the middle of the table. In this next rack, the corner ball and the 1 ball goes, and the cue ball's in the middle of the table, so that's a 10. In this rack, the corner ball goes, the cue ball's in the middle of the table, but the 1 ball doesn't get over there for it, so that's a 7. And in this rack, the cue ball goes to the middle of the table, the corner ball goes, but the 1 isn't in the position zone, so I get a 7. This next rack here, the corner ball goes in, I lose control of the 1. On this next rack, I scratch on the break. The 1 ball does not go into the position zone, but I made the corner ball, so that's a -1. In this rack, the corner ball goes. The cue ball's in the middle of the table. The 1 almost gets over there, but I'm still stuck with the 7. In this break, the corner ball goes. The 1 ball's in the position zone, and the cue ball's in the middle of the table, so I get a 10. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Do You Want to Play Like a Pro? I hope you've enjoyed this lesson on pool mechanics, and I hope that you can use the scoring rubric that we discussed to make your break better than it's ever been before. If you haven't gone to poolteacher.com and registered for our big giveaway, be sure to do so. This week I'm also happy to announce that we're going to have a competition for a Life of Pool Alan Hopkins book that's been signed by Alan himself. So here are the terms and conditions. First of all, you need to tape yourself breaking 10 racks of 9 ball. And I want you to score yourself using the scoring rubric. Once you have those taped, upload them to YouTube and send me a link over the registration form. Send me the YouTube link. I'll watch it, and next week I'm going to have a drawing out of the 5 or 10 highest scores, depending on how many that we get. But whoever has the highest scores, but it's got to be documented, it's got to be on YouTube, and you've got to be sure that you send me the link. So go to poolteacher.com, click on the YouTube giveaways form, and send me a link of your breaking session. And one thing I do want to point out is, don't edit your session. It needs to be 1 tape of 10 breaks. You can mark it off on your table, but I want to see what your scores are. And the highest scores, you know, if we have 5 people that tie for first place, we're going to have a drawing from those 5 people. If we have 10 people, we're going to have a drawing from 10 or whatever. But if everyone scores perfectly on all of them, then we're just going to draw from that number. But be sure to get those videos in, and we're going to give away an autographed copy of the Alan Hopkins Life of Pool book. Thanks again for watching, and I hope everyone has a great week.
It's just one of those amazing classes that you can never forget. It's one of those classes that can really get you going where you want to go with the game.
It's the best online course on pool out there.
It's been really cool working with Anthony from home. I've already learned so much.
I love the course. It's easy to use and available 24/7, which fits well with my busy schedule.
Luckily, I stumbled upon Anthony Beeler's online courses, so I signed up. And within 3 or 4 months, my game had improved dramatically.
It will definitely improve your game.
When I did go back to the regional tournament, finally after 7 years, I got first place. They bumped me up to the next division. I went back the following year. I got first place in that division the first year. I can't say highly enough how much Anthony's courses have helped me, and I have no doubt they will help you too. If you do have any questions, he's available on the phone calls. He answers your questions very quickly.
Someone asked me about Anthony Beeler's Virtual Beer Academy class. Go all the way.